been asking throughout the week so far about missed tackles, things like that. How would you say you've gone about having to address that here through practice so far this week?
Yeah, that's really uncharacteristic of this defense. And we struggled the previous two games, with the tackling. We made tackles before in games, so they know how to tackle. But it's really just emphasizing the technique. And you have to understand what type of tackle you're in, right? It's an open field tackle, it's a closed quarter tackle, are we tracking the near hip? We always want to populate to the ball. You have to trust your teammates are going to be there. And there was plays where, we had 4 or 5 guys miss on a play, just cutting back. So it's really going back to the fundamentals, stressing that with the guys. It's a short week. We don't have a lot of time to drill it, but they understand it. Obviously show video of the misses. So it's just something we have to fix. That's not us.
Joe, you kind of navigate sometimes when you're trying to create sort of this aggressive takeaway mentality, and so sometimes you might feel like going for the ball as opposed to tackle. How do you kind of negotiate?
Yeah,
that?
You always have to make sure you can make the tackle. I mean, never sacrifice the tackle, for trying to get the ball out. And that was unfortunate. They checked the ball down where we wanted them to, and we just had the opportunity to get the guy down, and he goes, 50-plus yards. So that just can't happen. That's bad football.
Stuff like pursuit angles, is that something that is just kind of mental? How do you even address that in the moment versus throughout the week?
Yeah, you always track the near hip, and in the NFL, it's we don't tackle. So when you're in practice, when you're in those situations, right, when you're tracking the ball, you have to put yourself in that position in terms of long stride, short stride, tracking near hip, and then finishing. And I always tell the guys it's a cutback league because everybody can run. So they're not going to outrun you, so you always have to be ready for the cutback. And that happened to us a couple times. So, again, it's just emphasizing those points. And, the few reps we do have in practice, more tomorrow, we just have to put it to use.
Joe, how would you describe where the team is mentally, emotionally after a game like that? I mean, the defense specifically.
Yeah, it's tough. It was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. The way the game started out, they went down, give them credit on the first drive. And then for them to score, he was on the sideline like, hey, guys, just settle down. Hey, let's play D. Let's climb back into this thing. And we did. We created 3 takeaways, should have had a 4th one. Then the game got away from us in the 4th quarter. I think emotionally, the guys are there. They know it's tough each and every week, no matter who you're playing. And they just have to believe in themselves. They have to believe in their teammates, in terms of what we're teaching them. And they just have to go out and worry about us. Don't worry about the other team. Just worry about us executing our scheme to the best of our ability.
Joe, how did the game get away from you? I mean, you guys were winning with 20 minutes left, and it was still a one-score game deep into the fourth quarter. How does something like that happen in a close game?
Yeah, it's execution. And like I said, you go through those emotional changes in the game where, hey, we're feeling good, we got the ball back, we're scoring, and then now things aren't going well for us. So you have to just take it one play at a time and stay focused on just doing your job. And then when you get out there, if you have 10 guys doing it and one guy not, then it can lead to a big play. And I just felt like our execution, obviously our tackling, wasn't crisp, late in the game, and it cost us.
I'm not trying to give an excuse, but how 74 minutes on the field in 7 days and now you're going back. I mean, does that matter a lot? Does that make a big difference?
Yeah, well, physically, man, obviously we're trying to get the guys back. This in terms of what we're doing with how we're practicing. Just to get them fresh for the game. But those Thursday games are always tough. But the guys have been through them. They know it. We'll be ready to go. Thought we had a really good day today in terms of what we did with the game plan, what the guys did, in terms of the execution. So they just got to go out there and play and just execute the defense.
Bo Nix is someone that's certainly had some rookie moments in his first 6 games. But when you look at him on film, what maybe have you noticed about how he's been able to grow through those 6 games?
I mean, he has arm talent for sure. I mean, he has a strong arm. He can definitely make all the throws. When you watch him, I think he's getting more comfortable every week. He will force a ball because he believes in his arm into coverage at times, which is a good thing for us at times. And other times, maybe not. But he does a good job of extending plays. He is very athletic. You watch him run around, and you just like, man, he's making a lot of people miss. So we're going to have a great rush plan. We're going to have to make sure we have eyes on him. But he does a lot of things when the play's not there, just extending it for him.
Joe,
Joe, has that been one of the big disappointments so far, not being able, for your team so far, not being able to finish, to have pass rush? It seems like in every game, but to not be able to actually get there and finish it?
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the games we played, from the Philly games, Atlanta. Like, we're in all those games, even the Kansas City's 16-13 going into the fourth quarter. And that's where you really got to wire in. That's where we need the pass rush. That's where we need to be great in coverage, just to make those one or two more plays. And really, when you look at games, it's one or two plays that make the difference in terms of momentum of the game at the end. And we just haven't been able to do it consistently.
I'm sorry, Joe, what's most challenging about defending the Sean Payton offense?
All the personnel groups, and that's the thing you have to prepare for is all the things they can do in terms of the people they put on the field. So you spend time preparing for it, but you don't know if you're going to get it or you're going to get something different. So they do a great job just in terms of how they move people around, the different things they do in the run and pass game. But you're going to have all your defensive packages ready to go and execute. And on a short week, it's tough, but like I said, we're going to worry about what we do on defense and execute our defense to the best of our ability and see what happens.
Joe, the tackling, how does that kind of become seem like a team-wide thing and not necessarily isolated? Like, what do you think maybe the causes for that?
Yeah, I don't know. Just like I said, we always go back to the fundamentals. And like I said, we've had multiple guys on plays just, take poor angles of pursuit. And the guys know that. We always got to track the hip. But it was just, it was a bad day when it came to tackling for us.
When you see something like your top 5 tacklers in the game or defensive backs, like what is your takeaway from that? How do you view that in the scheme of, hey, more big guys should be making that?
Well, it could be a good thing depending on the type of run, but for the most part, if we're having a lot of tackles, it's getting through the interior of the defense, and we're involved in all that, from a secondary standpoint, whether you're corner or safety, in terms of run fits, for us, crack replace on the edge, and overall we weren't very good last week in terms of executing all those things.
So far this season, right now, the defense is surrendering the most yards before contact in the run game. How do you go about addressing that?
Just everybody doing their job. And like I said, our execution has been off a little bit, but it's all 3 layers of the defense. It's not on the D-line. It's not on the linebackers. It's everybody. We all got to do our job to the best of our ability. And like I said, you could have 10 guys, 9 guys do their job, and you have 1 or 2 guys that are off, and now all of a sudden it's a big play. And that's happened to us a few times.
So when it comes to something like that, less about missed tackles, just as much about execution from a general sense?
Well, it's both. Yeah, because the execution has to be there, but then when you're at the point of attack, you have to make the play.
Joe, were there tackling issues in the first 4 games that maybe didn't get noticed, or did it just pop up 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, no, we always address, the issues, because you always want to talk about the things you do well and then the areas you need to improve. So those things are always addressed. But it just seemed like, really the last 2 weeks, like we've had a number of missed tackles, especially this last game. So it's just, like I say, getting back to the fundamentals of tracking and finishing and making sure we're doing it in practice every day, taking advantage of those opportunities, because we don't get a chance to tackle, so we just got to do better, coaches, players, everybody. All right, we'll see you.